And Harry did say he was coming today.
I wasn't there, but I heard.
Okay, Jerry, we're good here.
Okay, thanks, Virginia.
But I wasn't there. I was off too, but the guys.
Okay, we're ready to roll.
It looked like a single.
Good evening and welcome to the Borough Park Summit Council meeting, November 22nd, 2022. In attendance, we have Mr. Beston,
Here.
Ms. Lopez,
Present.
Ms. Simrel,
Present.
Solicitor Hayes,
Present.
Mr. Mitchell,
Here.
Mayor Kelly isn't here, Ms. Kehoe,
Here.
Mr. Jenkins,
Here.
Mr. Shields,
Here.
and Chief Jones.
Here.
We'll stand for a moment of meditation. And in our meditation, we'd like to remember Kathleen Simrel's mother-in-law who passed away. You're welcome. And we'll have our chief lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance.
To the
flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
And here's the mayor.
First item on our agenda is the approval of our agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Do we have a second
I'll second.
on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Favors have it 7-0. Next item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes for our September 28th work session.
I'll make that a motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Kathleen. And the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Favors have it 7-0. The next item is October 5th, our regular council meeting, and October 26th, our work session. Do we have a motion to approve both those meetings?
So moved.
With a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Favors have it 7-0. And public comment and input, we do have.
Mr. Brunamonte, and everybody, he made sure everybody had a copy of his narrative. There wasn't enough for him to be on. Ordinance. Oh,
Would you like me to?
oh, yes, I'm sorry. Please come up to the podium. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, I put these notes together. I figured it would make it easier just to see where I'm coming from.
Okay, thank you.
Basically, I live at 5 Powell Avenue. We've been there since November of '85. And back in May, well, actually last year, I noticed in heavy stormwater, there's a ton of water coming down the road, my sidewalk. It'll make a left-hand turn and go down my driveway through my neighbor's backyard. So that's what led to me contacting the borough back in May. Long story short, we got to figuring out what it was. I met with Dave Thorne, and this is not, I don't want to disparage Dave or the borough was their help with this. They did a good job. But ultimately, they had to fix some of the stormwater inlets. One was blocked. And the other one, everything just flowed by it because of the way the road pavement was laid up. So they fixed that. And when Dave was there, he offered to add a little berm at my driveway entrance. But there's a problem. My car, two of my vehicles can't get over it. So I would really like the borough to come back and pull that material out of there. I have a picture if you want. This is my son's car. I won't drive my car over because I have a new one. Well, not a new car, but it's in decent shape. But that's just from my son's car.
Unfortunately, Mr. Brunamonte volunteered information that Dave, with all good intents, ran with, and he had mentioned that he was looking to get his driveway repaved. So Dave made sure that the berm was high enough for any new layer of pave. And that's where the problem comes in. Now we are at the point where we don't have any equipment ready, we'd have to remove a a leaf box or a snow spreader, salt spreader, in order to go and do the work there. And he's concerned about how it's going to look. If they're ultimately going to get it paved, it's where it should be.
Well,
But
I only offered that when Dave was there during I'm the guy that discovered the blocked storm drains, so I'll let you know that. But when we were there, we walked down, I showed him where the water goes, and he offered to add a little material. I didn't expect him to try to match any future driveway job that I do, and that's not anywhere soon. I mean, all I said was at some point, I'm gonna have my driveway done.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, the driveway over the last 2 years has gone downhill even faster from the stormwater running down. So I'm a little upset if I have to have that situation left there. I'm not happy.
I can get the crew, it's gonna be, we're gonna lose a day. We can, if it can wait until after Thanksgiving, we'd be free to do it. If it needs to be done before Thanksgiving, we're gonna have to take a day off of leave pickup.
Right.
So that's gonna be the issue here. So are you willing to wait until after Thanksgiving?
Well, just so it gets done sometime soon. My car will be out on the street.
Okay.
So don't give me a ticket for parking on the street, because I'm not gonna ruin my car. My son doesn't care because his car is ready to go in the junkyard. And my wife has an SUV, which can get over to home.
We will, if you're willing to wait until after Thanksgiving, I will get the DPW as soon as leaf pickup is done to come out and.
Well, that'd
spend
be
the day.
great. I just don't want to be left. The impression I was left with in our last correspondence was too bad. Whenever you get around to your driveway, we'll fix it. But I didn't ask them to put such a large, and their intentions were good. Dave, again, I'm not disparaging Dave. I think they meant to do right. And it looked good when I came home, but then when my son came home that night, I heard boom. I said, oh boy. So I went out with my Chevy Impala and I got part way in the start of the script. And I said, there's no way.
Yeah.
I just can't live with this.
Okay,
And you know, unfortunately, we've had other residents that have requested this. And then they send us letters back and they'll say, thank you, because of them putting the brim up there,
Mhm.
especially on Carnation where it comes downhill.
Well, really all you need there is just a little lip. The problem with where I live on Powell Avenue, it's on the low side.
Yeah.
And the last time they paved that road, I don't think they milled it. So every time they add more paved, it all slopes towards me. My sidewalk's kind of low. And probably 10, 15, 20 years ago, the borough came through, they patched that gutter area and they put a curb that separates my sidewalk from the road. So everything that comes on my neighbor's sidewalk and mine stays on the sidewalk, which I have to live with that now until I put sidewalks in or whatever, which I've been living with. But when those storm inlets were blocked, it was like a river. I had pictures, you could probably run a canoe down there at times. My neighbor's yard was like a stream. And that all undermined my driveway even quicker.
Would you be able to make yourself available and the DPW does take a look at it just to
Sure.
make sure that your car can get there and you can
Yeah.
also protect, there's not water coming down into the driveway either.
Yeah, no, again, I met with Dave in the field in August, I think it was. And, we figured out what needed to be done at the storm inlets, and they did a nice job there. But then while he was there, he offered, he said, maybe I could put a little material at the top of the entrance of the driveway. I said, that sounds good. And I couldn't be there. I had to leave that morning. Come home and they finish it up and it looked great. It doesn't look good, but it's just not, you can't get the car over.
Yeah.
So,
I apologize. They did act with good intentions.
oh, yeah.
We'll get
again-
them out there after
Again, I don't
Thanksgiving.
want to give those guys a black eye. I mean, they were trying to help me out. But those inlets need to be checked. Because everything that comes around, what's it, Electric Street? It's just all the leaves and everything just build up in there. And the one was plugged solid.
Yeah, there are issues with those inlets that we're aware of. We're gonna have to replace them at some point, but they're not pitched properly. When they were put in years ago, they're just not.
Yeah, the water would bypass.
It's a
it. Then it
good,
gets
not
on
a
the
good design,
sidewalk.
and we've been working with it. But ultimately, when we're ready to repave the next time, we're gonna need to redo it, and we do
And then
recognize
the
that.
stream is right there, it drops. What Dave did was he put, so even if the drain's blocked now, it'll push the water into kind of over the side of that little culvert that goes under the road, which probably ain't the right way to do it, but at least it's not coming down the street, down the sidewalk.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you, yeah.
Madam President, I do have one question. On Powell, are you on a lower,
I'm on the lower side,
you are on the lower side of Powell?
right.
So then,
Well, the 500 block, but when you look out my house, you're looking up at West Grove Street.
okay,
Like, but the lay of the land is the houses across the street are higher.
higher than you are.
Their sidewalks
You're
are up on
you're still lower.
And then I'm on that low end.
You knew that little creek that
Yeah, it goes out back,
out and then down behind your house?
right.
Yeah.
Jerry, he bought Howard Champlin's house,
Oh, okay.
not Calvin's. You're thinking of
Okay.
Calvin's house.
Yeah.
Jerry was born and raised on Cowell too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I was at.
Yeah, I know
515
Ricky
house.
Fitzgerald.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I miss him.
We all do. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, well, sounds good. Yeah, they could call me. I think I had given you my cell phone number at one
I'm
point.
pretty sure I still have it documented.
All right,
Good.
yeah, I'll keep my cell phone handy whenever they're gonna come around.
Okay.
Now, I do have a couple things where maybe I have to be like away on that day or
That's
whatever,
fine.
but
Like I said,
I'm pretty flexible.
if anything changes, let me know, but otherwise we will be waiting till after Thanksgiving.
Right.
The leaf pickup, we got to get that done. so
Yeah,
we can
no, I know
convert
they're
over
coming
quickly.
around today. And
Okay.
I know they're busy. I know they're not sitting on their
Yeah.
butts doing nothing. It's just a situation I can't live with.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is our police report.
So we had, I think, the last time we had a grant for some new tablet PCs that are being installed in the town. It was a grant that I applied for back in March. And I did apply for another grant for camera upgrades for all the cars. The department, some of the officers attended an active shooter drill that was encouraged by the attorney's office as well as the U.S. Attorney's Office. So we were there with South Abington, us and Waverly, and
Where do they have that at, Chris?
we had the middle school.
Oh,
Yeah, we
okay.
had the middle school on Columbus Day.
Oh, yeah.
Columbus Day.
Yeah.
We had up that where they, and then a state police were up there. We went through third buildings and did
Yeah.
different things. And
Oh, good.
actually, we did the entire faculty staff, the entire school district was up there at the same time. too.
Oh, really?
They have
That's
the
great.
experience.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Dealing with some
Good.
flashbangs and things like that, so
Huh.
we did that. And I thought it was important to get done. We still need to do it again, because we gotta get this, some things we didn't accomplish everything we wanted to accomplish. The other thing too is, I think if Ms. Ginny could do this recently, overnight parking ban starts November 1st.
I'm sorry, say
The
again.
overnight parking ban, could we
Yeah.
put that on the bulletin board down there or something?
Oh, sure.
Advertise it, or Facebook page, whatever. Yeah, we're gonna start doing that, some warnings to begin with, but then we're gonna take tickets to do this, so it's a good warning.
I always forget.
When does that start? November first?
November 1st.
Okay, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And we'll do this all.
Okay. November 1st to what, April 15th?
April 1st,
April
March
1st.
31st.
Okay, March 31st. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
And we're still struggling with staffing down there and patching it up, different hours here and there, and everybody's pitching the best they can. Going through it one day at a time. You and I got to meet. Then we're gonna meet with personnel. That's about it.
Okay, well, of course, as we discussed at our work session, in great detail, the hiring of Alex Kaiser as a full-time policeman. And Chris thought that when we vote on this tonight, if we could start him with the payroll, which would start on Sunday. Would it be Sunday the close?
I just thought it'd be easier for bookkeeper purposes to start on this Sunday, which is the beginning of a new pay period. When we don't do that, we have to kind of like do 2 pay periods for one officer, you know?
Right.
I think pay period starts at 7 a.m. on Sunday.
And I apologize because I got distracted. You want to start on when? Well, we still have,
Sunday.
huh?
Sunday.
Sunday, right.
The
Okay,
new pay period.
right. Do you, we
Okay,
need
do have a
to,
motion.
Be-
Hire
be-
Alex
Before we
Kaiser.
get into that, I do have a question on the police report.
Oh,
And I thought you were talking about the police report. I didn't realize you were, otherwise I would have interrupted you before. Chris, on the alarms, are we having a major problem on any of the alarms, or do we send warnings out if they're like more than 2? More than
Dunkin'
3?
Donuts, we've issued them on site pay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've warned them. I went to talk to the manager. Met with the manager, met with the manager and the supervisor, and got a letter to the owner. And they continue to have alarms, so we cited them and funny how you cited them, it stops on the site.
They're like the only ones?
They've had a
Major
lot of
offenders?
alarms this year. And,
Okay.
there's one at the bank at the bottom. We had a problem with that bank that was done by Mo's. And they had something hanging from the ceiling every time the heat came on.
Oh,
That was going on all weekend and the alarm company couldn't get a hold of anybody.
oh,
And
okay.
I left a voicemail message, the call list we have down here. And the one guy no longer works here. The other person was out of town.
Oh, okay.
And-
All right.
But I think Monday morning, we went down there. One of the officers went down there and hasn't had alarm since, so.
Okay. Other than that, the alarms are just random?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah,
Okay.
because those are the ones that, you know.
Okay.
I'm
right.
looking at the ones on here, and none of them are regulars, with the exception of the ones I just mentioned.
Okay.
And,
All right.
and the one at the bank, that was unusual, because we were getting alarms.
Okay. Thank you. Jerry, I'm sorry.
Actually, Chief Lawrence, I have a quick question. Regarding this memorandum of understanding for healthcare, has this been agreed to, or is this, was it on?
You know, I have to apologize, I wasn't really privileged to that.
no, he hasn't, but I did forward the
Yeah.
email from the president of the union.
No?
He said that they were fine with it. If we vote on it, they'll sign
I
it.
believe it was something the union and also members agreed upon. it.
right.
I
The
wasn't-
2
I
memorandums
wasn't
are
part
both
of it.
approved
Oh, they're
by
all
the-
together, okay.
There's 2 of them in there, yeah.
Right.
But we have to vote on them to accept them first, but I figure it's irrelevant until and unless we bring on Alex.
Okay, we have a motion to hire Alex Kaiser.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. We have a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kathleen. On the question,
I do have some questions, Jerry, and I
Sure.
apologize. I wasn't here last week, so I know this was discussed.
I know.
But I was not here and I'm trying to catch up, make sure that I'm really
Right.
understanding the implications here. So number one, I will say, I know we have an email that says they'll sign these MOUs, but to me, that's the backwards order. We should have an MOU that is signed before we pull the trigger on a full-time officer, in my opinion. Just to make sure we're doing this, you know, as carefully as we possibly can. I mean, my biggest question is, I know that by this MOU, there would not be health insurance here, but what is the actual number in terms of the budget ramification for, in particular for 2023, on the impact on our budget, having an extra full-time officer versus part-time?
It depends entirely on what happens with Eric. If Eric is given,
Do we need,
excuse me, no, I didn't need,
do we need to adjourn?
do
for
we
an
need an executive session for this, about this real quick?
If we're gonna discuss
Talking about-
personnel, then yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yes,
Talking about a personnel issue.
yeah.
So do you need a motion to adjourn?
No, we're not
we're
gonna
just going
adjourn.
to-
We would just recess, we'd ask Ben to step out, we'll close the doors and then we'll open them again.
Okay, and then turn the.
Okay, so we're recessing at
7:20.
7:20.
Go into the TV.
Okay, I don't know